It was the sinkhole scene around the world. Everyone had something to say about the Port Authority bus just sitting at a red light that suddenly dropped through 10th Street downtown. A massive sinkhole opened up without a moment's notice, and it launched hundreds of online comments, memes, and even this. A costume or two this Halloween. A man named Joshua Boyda created a Port Authority bus for Halloween. He was seen just walking around town, stopping to kneel on sidewalks to recreate the fallen bus. Creative, we like it. So there was a lot of fun to be had, but the whole incident brought Pittsburgh's infrastructure issues into the limelight once again. Below the sinkhole lay water, sewer, and storm lines operated by the PWSA, as well as other infrastructure operated by Duquesne Light, Verizon, Peoples Gas, and PAC Thermal. Now that is part of the reason why it will take about 2 months or so to repair the street, and this is just for one block of downtown Pittsburgh. What will it take for Pittsburgh's infrastructure to see more permanent repairs? Our guest this morning can help us answer that question. Jonathan Shimko is president-elect of the Pittsburgh chapter of ASCE. That's the American Society of Civil Engineers. So thanks so much, Jonathan, for being here with me.
Thank you, Megan.
What did you first think when you saw that picture of the sinkhole?
Well,
do you remember where you were, what you were doing?
It was the morning. I think I was watching KDKA morning news, getting ready for work, and yeah, it's a shocking image. It's interesting to see the momentum that it's had nationally, as well as the videos that you showed. But as a member of a professional organization, American Society of Civil Engineers, first thing I look at is, wow, that's something that directly involves my day to day. And I know that we can fix those problems, but it truly was a wake-up call, a call to action, if you will, that it's time to make some changes to our infrastructure.
So many people have been asking, how in the world does that happen without any warning?
Sure. And the unfortunate thing is that most of the sinkholes like this do happen. I want to say first and foremost, as a civil engineering organization, the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens is paramount. That's our first creed, and our goal is to make our infrastructure safe and protect the citizens that use that infrastructure. And I'm happy to report that no one was seriously injured, or there was no fatalities. We can't say the same for some of the larger sinkholes that have happened around the world. But these events do happen, and they happen suddenly. This event was the culmination of a lot of probably small domino effect things. Underground infrastructure is out of sight, out of mind. Usually it's not thought about. We don't think about how we get our drinking water when we turn the tap. We take it for granted. We don't realize that when we flush the toilet, things disappear. We forget about those. But when the earth opens up, we see those as we just did. And
what was the conversation in your office that day when you went into work?
Similar type things, like, well, we need to fix it. Like, how can things get fixed? Especially as an organization, as a group of civil engineers, it definitely started a buzz within the professional organization, and thank you for reaching out to us, and hopefully we can bring more awareness so that the conversation doesn't happen just amongst engineers. We can start talking about it at the regulatory level, at the policy level, at the government level, and at the utility level, so that we can make changes and improve these things for our citizens.
Do you think Pittsburgh's infrastructure needs a makeover and has needed one for quite some time, or do you think Pittsburgh's doing pretty well in comparison to some worse off places?
Yeah, so Pittsburgh certainly has its challenges, like most cities do. I think Pittsburgh does very well at many things. We should be proud of the city. It's a beautiful city, one of my favorites. I live here. I travel a lot, and every time I come through the tunnel, I smile. I think it's amazing. So yes, Pittsburgh can improve on our infrastructure, as can the rest of the country. Things are getting older. Pittsburgh's an old city. We like to say that we've built ourselves up out of the steel industry, and now we're much more technology and healthcare focused, with a kind of more white collar type job industry that is great, and it looks well, but everything that was created under previous regimes is underground and out of sight, and it is old, and most of those utilities are beyond their useful life. Most of these utilities are 75 to 100 years old.
So one thing you guys do is go out and make a report card, essentially. Can you explain that and
Sure.
how we're doing?
So just going to highlight this. Every 4 years, the professional organizations of the American Society of Civil Engineers across the state get together and we create a report card for the entire state. This is available for everyone to view at pareportcard.org.
How did we do?
Yeah, we did not do well. An aggregate score was a C- across all of the various categories, which covers everything from airports, transportation, rail, roadways, water, sewer, covers everything. But yeah, we have a C-, not really a grade that you'd want to put on your refrigerator as a child. But as far as the national report card, ASC Nationals does a national report card as well. I believe the national average is a D. So we're above, compared to the national average, we are doing a little better, but there's so much more room for improvement.
Sounds like when you would fail a test, though, and you'd say, but everyone bombed it, Mom
Right.
and Dad, don't worry about it.
Unfortunately, infrastructure doesn't get graded on a curve.
No, dang it. So what did we get for our roads? Because everyone's always talking about sinkholes.
Sure.
And also potholes.
So unfortunately, roads and most of the infrastructure that you talked about in your intro, water, sewer, all those utilities across the board, all of those received a D.
Oh, no.
Yep. So yeah. So we obviously.
What do we do? Do we need to have more state funding, or is there a pathway to improving our grade?
It really does come down to funding and money. We have the technologies, we have the know-how, we have the people that are willing and able to do the work. But unfortunately, it is expensive and time-consuming and somewhat inconvenient. We all like a construction project when it's complete, but when it's in action, it causes interruptions. We're going to be interrupted downtown here while this is repaired, and it's going to cause some grief for some folks, but it's a necessary evil sometimes. But funding is the key, and we need to bring awareness that there are deficits and find opportunities to use federal funding, to secure state funding to help us locally, as well as then find innovative ways to use the funds that we have, be it through rates, be it through other existing, funding sources that maybe are underutilized.
All right, thank you so much. Well, hopefully we can find some funding in some innovative ways, and we can raise those grades there from a D.
That's all we do. So we'll do another report card in 2022. We do them every 4 years, and hopefully we're improving.
Fingers crossed. All right, thank you so much. Well, we'll be right back in a moment when the KDPG Sunday edition continues.